Welcome to the Val Studio for March 18th, 2017. AJ's coming back to town. He dropped off a little box over here a long time ago, and I promised I'd look at it. Tomorrow, I guess, is his birthday, so I better get my act together and give this back to him. So let's take a look at what we got here. I'm going to switch over to my overhead camera. In fact, I got to adjust it here a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. This thing here is an old tape deck that AJ modded when he was in high school. He wanted to make a guitar amplifier out of it. He pulled the motors out. He doesn't have a knob in here anymore. It's marked realistic right here, but it's not a Radio Shack part. At least I couldn't find any information on it. There's a serial number tag back here, but there's no model number or anything. So I took this apart. When he modded it, he said he didn't really know what he was doing back then. He actually did an okay job at that, but I did clean up some of the solder joints and I removed some duct tape. Duct tape's not really that good to use for this type of work. So I'll go ahead and show you what we got in here. If I can get this thing apart, it's kind of precarious. Wasn't able to find a schematic for this thing, but let's go over some of the tubes in it. These tubes here are all, what are they? 12 AV6. There's 3 of those. And when I first started looking at this first one here it's on a vibration mount to reduce microphonics. No, I can't get this thing back in. Oh, come on now. Okay, these 3 are the same thing. So this one's on a vibration mount. This is an output tube. This is a 6 AR5, and this is a rectifier tube, which is a 5 MK9. I could not find a schematic on it that was kind of complete with these three smaller gain stages here, but I did find one. I'll show you here. I did find one that has 2 AV6s in it and a 6 AR5. The schematic I'm showing is a half-wave rectifier. This particular rectifier here is also half-wave. So what I ended up doing was I resoldered this connection here. This thing has an internal speaker. It's mono. It's a single-ended amplifier. I cleaned out the potentiometers. I fixed up the leads here on these jacks. It just works out that they are 1/4 inch jacks, so it's going to be convenient. So let's plug it in and see what happens. I did go through and ramp this up on my Variac, and I was watching the current. It all looks good. I didn't bother testing any of these tubes. We'll go ahead and talk about why I didn't do that. I didn't have any shorts, so I just figured, well, let's just try it. So plug this in here, and I am going to plug in my function generator into the microphone input, and we'll turn this on. Oh, now I got a phone call. Hold on, let me turn my phone off. Okay. Well, you can see here it has one of these indicator tubes, Magic Eye. That's for recording. And right off the bat, I can hear some hum. It's coming out of this speaker back here. And I got a, what is it, 500 hertz sine wave going into it. This is this speaker back here now. We're getting some distortion out of this thing because it's not screwed. I might as well turn this down. It's not screwed down, so we're getting some resonance out of this. This thing is kind of precarious. But it works, which is great. It also has an external speaker connection here. I don't know what's making all that noise. Yeah, something's in here is vibrating. So let's plug in an external speaker, so we don't have to listen to all that resonance. So I'm going to plug it into my bench speaker, which is a Polk Audio desktop, or shelf speaker, bookshelf speaker. This is the external speaker jack here. It's kind of convenient. So you can already hear some distortion in that. That might be because I'm overdriving it. This microphone might be small. I might be driving it with too much signal on my signal generator. Okay. Well, that's convenient. It all works right. However, I want to show you some other stuff here. If I turn off my signal generator, you can hear this here. It's got a lot of noise. I want to go and try to find this, and I also want to try to find the hum. Now, half-wave rectifiers hum at 60 hertz. So they also have a higher 60 hertz component because of the way that the droop occurs, because you only have conduction on that rectifier for half the sine wave. Okay, so we may not be able to get rid of the hum, but we certainly can look at see what's causing all this noise. It might be one of those preamp tubes. Chances are we're not using all of them on a tape deck. There's probably one of those is dedicated for the microphone input. The other one is for the tape head, and we might get away with that. One of these tubes is bad. We could probably just switch it, and we'll try that first. Okay, let me let's pull this apart here, and we'll flip this over. Normally when I do this, I know what the problem is before I start recording, but I figured I'd just turn on the microphone and wing it today. All right, let me see, what do they need to do? Okay, I think I can just turn it on from here. Without anything plugged into it, it is pretty noisy. Well, it's really noisy now. That's coming out of the internal speaker. Wow. Okay. That one's pretty microphonic right there. That's the one that has the shock mount in it. Let me turn this down a little bit. Whoa. Okay, so I think this one is the rectifier. This one here is the output tube. You can see it's kind of a lot brighter. All right, well, let me poke around a little bit. I'll try to figure out where all this noise is coming from, and I'll be right back. Well, solving all that noise problem was really simple. I didn't even put a scope on it. I just started pulling these tubes out because I assumed that one of these was for the tape head, the other one's for the mic input. Sure enough, this one that's got a vibration mount on it to lower the microphonics was for the tape head. Pulled it out, that noise problem went away, and so now we're down to actually measuring some performance over here. So I have an old HP function generator over here, and I've got it connected up to a dummy load at 8 ohms. So I'm going to go ahead and move my thing up here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. I have an oscilloscope on the right and a spectrum analyzer on the left. And if we look at this first, this guy over here has got a lot of extra noise on it. This is the 60 hertz riding on the same signal as the 1 kilohertz. And over here is the spectrum coming out. This is another thing I picked up for here for the Valve Studio. It's a HP 3580 spectrum analyzer. This is vintage 1980. I know it's vintage because this is the one I had when I was in undergraduate school. I got the sensitivity at 0, so that makes this top line 0 dB. And I've got everything adjusted. We are on 1 kilohertz per division, so this whole span across here gets up to about 12 kilohertz. See the fundamental here is on 1, and here's the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and you can kind of see that there's a lot of harmonics in this signal. And I thought, well, why is it so noisy? Because, I mean, this is a tape deck. What I don't really know is my old function generator here. It's 3311. I don't know what its distortion characteristics are. I suspect a lot of these components are actually coming from the function generator. I'm in the process of getting a low distortion function generator now. But we're going to live with this for today. We'll go ahead and overdrive this, and we'll see that the harmonic content changes. But this is relatively a sine wave, and if I hooked up to a speaker, you can kind of hear that. Let's go ahead and turn it up here. We're probably going to overdrive a lot of things by turning it up, so we'll visually look at this, the scope output here first. You can kind of see, there we go. We're getting some top of the waves kind of cut off now, and that's an indication that one of the tubes is going into cutoff. And you can see that, well, we're overdriving this over here, so let me turn this up again. We'll go ahead and let this trace go through. We'll do a whole sweep here. So there's the fundamental, there's the 2nd, there's the 3rd, and the 4th, and the 5th, and the 6th, and so on. So there's a lot more content now harmonically, and all those things went up. Our differential between the fundamental and the secondary is now about 25 dB. And so none of this matters. This is for a guitar amplifier. Let's see what it looks like when we actually hook it up to some speakers, and see how this is going to work as a guitar amplifier. All right, so I'm rounding my guitar input right into the microphone here, and I'm going to turn this guy on. And I will turn it up to probably 1/4 dial. And over here, I'm going to be on the bridge pickup, and I'll be about 5. I'm playing out of the speaker on this thing right here. So that's a little, looks like a 3x5 speaker. Let's get a little more volume here. All right, so that works. Let's plug in my bench. What I got over there? That's like some kind of vintage PA speaker from. No, I'm not on that one. I'm on the Polk Audio desktop speaker, the bookshelf speaker. That's an 8 ohm speaker up there. So it sounds pretty good. And I can overdrive it with the volume knob on the guitar. And let's turn up the volume on the tape deck here all the way. Here's the tone control on the tape deck. So it does work, it does do something. Here's the bridge pickup. Oop. Turn the volume back down to about 50%. All right, so now the big test. It's kind of silly. I was playing on my Polk Audio speaker here, and that's like a 6 1/4 inch woofer in that thing. And I was surprised at how loud it actually was. So I brought over, you can't see it, but I have my Marshall half stack rack here. Let me see if I can get this plugged in. Now this is a single-ended amplifier running at 6 AR, what was it, AR5? And I looked up the spec on that. I'll show you the spec sheet here. Trust me, I got a Marshall half stack here, which I think has 4 12-inch Celestion greenbacks in it. All right, let's play this tape deck. So that is 10 on my bridge pickup, and I'm 50% on the volume on the tape deck. I'll turn the bridge down. So that looks pretty good. Here's the neck pickup. Now this is single-ended at about 3 watts. I'm really surprised at, at how loud it is. Yeah, I hope this isn't getting too distorted. So you get the idea. Well, I must say that this is the easiest project I worked on here. The total fix was to pull a single tube out. Well, there's not much to say about this craziness. I'm going to go ahead and give this back to AJ tomorrow and wish him happy birthday. And this is another thing that's out of here in the Valve Studio. Thanks for watching. Today's date is March the 18th. 2017. Have a great day. Let me see here. What are we going to play?